Hi, welcome back to my channel. Hot take. Video games are supposed to be fun, not lectures about why being a white man is bad. Okay, I don't think that's a hot take. I think that everyone who plays video games enjoys them the most when they're fun. And are there actually games that are just lectures about why white people are bad? Jesus Christ, is it really this easy to upset that beehive? Me. I am a white man and I like video games. The internet. Okay, well that's not what you said. These are both tweets from Boogie2988, a creator who's been making videos on YouTube since 2006. He's made over 2,000 videos in that time, and he is no longer in his heyday. He still has a following and a fan base, but we get about the same number of views on videos, and he has around 4 million subscribers. And I don't. Going back to that second post, I tweeted out, I am a white man and I like video games, and it barely even registered a blip on the Bird app. I am genuinely sad that Gen Alpha might see old videos on the internet and go, why do people refer to X as the Bird app? It's officially known as X, formerly Twitter. That's how every article writes about it. But my tweet was barely noticed because other than being a little weird, there's nothing controversial about it. Unsurprisingly, people pushed back on this claim that video games have become lectures about how white men are evil, and Boogie had zero legs to stand on. Hey Boogie, what games shame white men? Do your own research. Meanwhile, read the tweet. I didn't say there are any. I said they shouldn't. Do your own research. You're the one who brought it up. And while you didn't explicitly say there are video games being created that are lectures about how white men are evil, if that's not the case, then why are we talking about it? Can you name 5 games that supported your tweet? Quickly. Even if I can't, it doesn't change the fact that video games should be fun and not lectures. Okay, then what the fuck are we even talking about? There are literally an infinite number of hypothetical bad things that could happen at any moment. It would be bad if every time you played a video game, you got one of your fingers cut off. It would be bad if the Costco hot dog cost $3. It would be bad if the island of Manhattan just fell into the ocean, because I would see so many TikToks of people going, hey, I'm swimming here, making the same joke. But if these anti-white man lecture video games aren't real, why are you worried about them? Are you fearful that they will be real? Because I wouldn't be. And even if a game like that or games like that came out, you wouldn't have to play them. That's the fun part about video games. You pick the ones you want to play. There will be games that critique racism, sexism, colonialism, and some of those games will have white men as antagonists. But the critique is of the oppressive system, not of being born white or a man. Because what is the critique there? Hey, you were born white? Stop it. That is not the position of anyone who is genuinely interested in social change. But if you look at the size of his platform and you look at his reach, it is wildly unsurprising to see someone who was once popular and has now fallen behind the times turn to the conservative grift. But Boogie insists that is not what's happening. He takes issue with people calling him an alt-right grifter, and he has a list of accomplishments that prove he's an ally. It's wild getting called alt-right at the moment because I said video games shouldn't shame white men. I literally voted Democrat since I was able to vote, donated yearly to the Human Rights Campaign, raised money for trans charities, helped start up a video game store that was an LGBTQ+ safe space in Arkansas, was in an interracial relationship in the South in the 80s and 90s, and got my ass beat for simply loving a black woman. My only offense is being a white man who likes video games, and I got lit the fuck up by these people. As if doing good things for marginalized communities means that you are somehow immune from ever doing anything harmful, even if by accident. But I think the important distinction here is all of his pushback was saying, I'm not a conservative, I am a liberal, I am not a member of the alt-right, when that's generally not the accusation. The accusation is that he's doing the grift. It doesn't matter whether or not he believes what he's saying. It doesn't matter whether or not he's being willfully ignorant to it. His numbers have dipped, as happens to nearly everyone who's been making videos for more than a decade. And making videos and tweets about some perceived white grievance is an easy way to get engagement. Really, it's a 2-for-1 because you get all the people who do believe there is a growing anti-white movement in America, and you get all the people going, "What are you talking about? Video games that are actually lectures? Can you name one?" And if that gets a pulse, then maybe you sell some merch about the situation. And obviously the merch is a lukewarm statement. You don't want to get political on a graphic tee. Wow, I can't wait to wear this awesome 8-bit shirt that from a distance looks like there's a printing error. So he said something meant to be inflammatory. That's why he started it with hot take. Then he couldn't support the claim at all. He still has yet to name a game that perpetuates this injustice against white men. And to complete the conservative grift, he goes, "Yeah, I won't be apologizing. Before I hop off Twitter for a while, I have pissed off a lot of POC and LGBTQ folks in the past 24 hours. Know that I still love you and will always fight for you when I can. But I won't change my opinion that video games are meant to be fun and not lectures. I am not sorry about that. I care more about video games being fun than how marginalized people feel," is a wild thing for someone who claims to be an ally to say. Especially when the video games he's upset about are fictional. They're hypothetical. But the humans that he upset are real people. His original tweet linked to a video about how Elon Musk is amplifying the signal for GamerGate 2 against the Department of Homeland Security. That is genuinely the video.
Well, gamers, grab your Mountain Dew, lock and load your controllers. GamerGate 2 has officially begun. And who's leading the clapback this time? Is it just some random neckbeard on the internet like me? No, it's Elon freaking Musk.
There's a company called Sweet Baby Inc. that does consulting and writing for video games, and part of their mission is to include and empower diverse voices in video game storytelling. The horror.
Now, right here on their website, you'll see a list of games that they have worked on. And this is important later, so take a big note. But you'll see that some of these games have been too big to fail. God of War Ragnarok, sequel to the original God of War. Alan Wake 2, sequel to the original Alan Wake. Spider-Man 2, too big to fail. And some other games on here are some real stinkers.
People on Steam can compile lists of games, and there was one such list made called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, which was calling for people to boycott all of the games Sweet Baby Inc. has even had any involvement with. This has also led to a targeted harassment campaign against the people who work at Sweet Baby Inc. and the people who work on the other games that Sweet Baby did some consulting on.
Look at these tweets from Felix, who we spoke about earlier. "Pay me to shoot down your white male lead game ideas. I had a nightmare that I was a white male gamer." Yeah, it's pretty abundantly clear that they're not there to add diversity to games. They're there to push white people and white males out.
Okay, let's go to the list of games featured on the Sweet Baby Inc. website to see if they really are forcing white men out of video games. From the list of 12 games on their website, 2 of them are games where you play as animals. So if you want to count those as pushing white males out, that's fine. They're also excluding queer women of color, disabled Europeans, people named Aaron. One of them is the Crew Motorfest, so dealing with a different kind of race altogether here. 4 of them feature a white man as a playable protagonist. Not every character in these games is a white man, but that's true of the real world too, which means less than half of these games are led by women. This is a company trying to force out white men in video games. Unfortunately, these are the only 12 games that have been released in the last 4 years. They are the entirety of the video games industry, and they need to be stopped. Obviously, I'm joking. This is one company that does consulting and writing for other video game studios. This is from an article about the situation. Online, other devs at studios Sweet Baby works with have come to the company's defense. In a thread on X, a writer from Insomniac Games confirmed that, as consultants, Sweet Baby offers ideas, feedback, and writing, but none of that gets into the game unless the core dev team agrees with it. the writer who has since locked their account posted. Sweet Baby is not, nor is any consulting group coming into Ret Games. They're helping smooth out plots and deepen characters. They ease the burden on the core narrative team. They're not pitching projects. They're just coming onto projects that people are already working on. These are games already in development. But Boogie continues.
Then you got the old media stepping in. This is game developer, a writer by the name of Brian Francis, who says, Steam and Discord are being used as a home base for hateful reactionaries to single out and harass game developers. Why are Valve and Discord permitting harassment against Sweet Baby Incorporated? And again, the harassment Bryant is so upset about is that someone copy and pasted from the Sweet Baby Incorporated website the list of games they've worked on so that you can make an informed decision whether or not you want to support the games that they've worked on.
The question is why? Why are people avoiding this list of games? A list that includes celebrated Game of the Year nominees, indie darlings, and games that frankly I have never heard of. It's not about the quality or the genre of the games. From that same article, there are a lot of games that we have been accused of working on, especially if they include characters of color or queer characters that have nothing to do with us, the co-founder of Sweet Baby says. I think that makes it very, very obvious what they think the pattern really is. It's more culture war bullshit. At least with the 1950s trad wife nuclear family, never forget what they took from you people, the propaganda is there. You get a wife who cooks for you, you get a house with a white picket fence, you get to continue your bloodline. It's total bullshit and a farce, and it never was real. But at least the propaganda's there. With video games, if you try to go never forget what they took from you, obviously the dated graphics from 20 years ago are gonna look dated. But so is the gameplay. What are we missing out on? Bubsy 3D? The main thing that they took away from you when it comes to video games is buying the game and then owning the game and not having to spend any more money on the game. But that's not the fault of developers or writers or consultants. That's the fault of the corporations, the executives at the top. Because a perpetual live service game means that shareholder value goes up. And that's what's important here.
Oh, and don't forget, if you're a white male gamer, especially an older one like me, it doesn't matter how leftist you are, it doesn't matter how much you support diversity, it doesn't matter how good of an ally you are dog shit on the bottom of these people's heels. Don't you ever forget it.
But who is saying this? Who with real power and influence in the games industry is saying this? It's not Todd Howard. It's not Jeff Keighley. It's not Neil Druckmann. Boogie said this because of a clip of someone from Sweet Baby Inc. talking at a conference.
As people dug around, they found this. The co-founder of Sweet Baby Incorporated basically saying that they bully people into putting this type of stuff in their games. Here, I'll let her speak for herself.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups, and if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
And when you take a 20-second soundbite out of a half-hour-long talk, you lose some of the context.
Go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. Because they have to consider, like, I say that a lot as a joke, but it's actually very, very true, because if you start to consider the people who are player and audience facing and who have to deal with mitigating harm and with keeping the sentiment around their game and their project positive, there's like a genuine value that you can impress upon them with both ethically and financially. You can say this is important. If you're in communications or you're part of that like scared marketing group, assume your players want new stories and treat representation as a facet of innovation, as a selling point. Leverage your game's ability to explore new perspectives. None of what we're doing is about ticking boxes or about a veneer of wokeness. We actually have to care about making this stuff.
She literally says this is not about ticking boxes. This is not about performative wokeness. But that's not enough. There actually is a woke mind virus coming. White men don't own video games. You ever heard of Celeste before? It's just so frustrating to see a community that could be expanding their horizons, could be openly and actively welcoming new people into the community. Because the more people that like video games, the more video games there are gonna be. When instead there's this need to preserve something that was once so pure when it never was. The reason video games used to be better was because you were 14 and you had so much time to play them. The inclusion of other people who exist outside of your worldview is not bad. That's good, actually. But Boogie's found a pulse. He's still tweeting, hot take, video games are supposed to be fun. I still think video games are supposed to be fun. No one disagreed with you, dude. Thank you so much for watching. It does mean a lot to me. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like or subscribing, I'd really appreciate that. I'm gonna go play Balatro for the next 9 hours. Bye-bye. That was the video. Bye-bye.